Okay, so here's the situation. My client has, I'm going to show you this a little bit. They're in the shower. This is where the problem is. And we've got a situation right here to where the cold water has broken, the cold water line has broken away from the connection. It's actually just busted. And it looked like it was patched at one time. It looks like some glue on there. Can't really tell on this. It's not that great of a job as far as the plumbing. At the very first, it just broke loose from this connection. And what they didn't do was prime it. And so there's usually the primer is purple and it's not showing up there as well. So the plumber that fixed this didn't prime it, and that's why it broke loose from the connection there. Kind of wondering what's the back over here. I'll do an inspection in just a minute. So what we're going to do is replace this. Okay, so you can see here what we've done. We've actually had to just clear this out because my reasoning was right. This was glued and there was no primer on there at all. And you could tell, I wanted to verify this. Again, there's glue over here, but there's no primer. Primer's purple, and it's a dead giveaway on that stuff. I don't even know how this passed inspection from the building inspector, so I have no idea. Anyway, it is what it is, okay? So what we're going to do is I've cleared this out a little bit more to have more access. And what you want to do is feel around on the pipe to find a clear place to cut. Now, unfortunately, there's glue that's dripped down all the way down here. So this is where I need to cut this, because I'm going to use sharp bites on this, and you'll see later in the video that once, if I don't cut it below where the glue has dripped, it's not going to get me a good seal. And I don't want to start scraping on this because I'm afraid I'm going to compromise the integrity of the pipe. So I'm going to have to go all the way down here. On this side, I'm okay. This is pretty clean. And I think we're going to be okay on this part. So let's go ahead and start taking this off. Now what you see here is I've taken a pair of vice grips and attached to the top section, and then used a crescent wrench and loosened out this bottom section. So just now do it by hand. You'll kind of see where we are with this. Okay, so that's that connection. And so I'm going to take out this bottom part here from the plastic and then clean that up and then put my new fittings on. One thing that you want to make sure, I do both. I put on the Teflon compound sealant, thread sealant, and then I also put in the Teflon tape. So when you're putting on the Teflon tape, you want to go clockwise. Okay, so just imagine, you know, you're turning on the thread like so. If you wrap it the other way, it'll just come undone. So wrap your Teflon tape in the same direction that you're going to put your fitting on. What I'm using here on this particular project is the Shark Bite 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and this works on copper or CPVC. You can always also use Plex on this, and so there's no problem on that at all. The most important part about seating a slip joint, what this is here, is that you want to make sure that you push down all the way, the fitting all the way down to the top until it stops. There's a stop right here. You've got to make sure that you push down on it. So I use both hands, one holding it and then one pushing down, and to make sure that this is seated correctly and that it's no slips. If you have it on partial way, it may not leak immediately, but you're going to wake up in the morning with your basement or your house flooded. So you want to make sure that the top of this pipe inside stops right here. Now I've got the end off, and so we're ready to move on to the next part, which is going to be go ahead and prep and clean everything, all the threads and everything here. And then what I've done on this side is went ahead and cleaned off and cut the distance that I need to work with. Again, I want to feel all the way around to make sure there's no glue or anything obstructing the shark bite from having a proper fitting. So then what I've done is, once I've got the threads prepped and ready to go, I went ahead and put on the, by the way, this is a 1/2 inch pipe, and so I've used a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here. So that's where we're going to go with this. The fitting that I'm using for this particular situation here is the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch FNPT, which is a female adapter, and it's going to go onto the male threads there. Now when you open this up, you're going to see the plastic fitting inside. So because I'm using CPVC and not copper, I'm going to leave this ring inside, and what it does, it keeps the wall from collapsing. Alright, now that both fittings are on either end, then what I'm ready to do is take my Plex and then go ahead and insert it. So this is recommended. This is actually shark bite Plex, and this is a 1/2 inch that I'm using here as well. So when I cut this, if you see right down here the stop that we talked about earlier, I'm just going to set that end right there and then take it on up to where I'm almost there but not quite, so I have some clearance. So once I insert this like this and just push it straight on down, let's see if I can do it with one hand or not. No, there it goes. Okay, so it's all the way down, and now I've got this little bit of clearance that so it's all the way down here, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert this on the other way. Now I'm not going to be able to show you because for one thing, I'm holding my phone in one hand and doing this with the other. So what I'm going to do is introduce you to a new tool that I just absolutely love. Okay, so I'm still going to try this with one hand. Beforehand, when these shark bites came out, there was a little tool that came with them. You can buy these independently. And I've done a video on this. You can just look for it, how to adjust a shark bite. But what's happened here in the first part is you have to push this orange slip up, which releases. Let me see if I can show you. See the little plastic part, little beige plastic right here, right where my thumb is touching, right below the fitting. Well, that's the part that releases the grip. So actually what you've done in the past is push up with this and then adjust it with the other hand. It's been kind of hard and challenging in the past to do that. So I'm going to show you a new tool right now that I just think it's an amazing thing. Whoever thought of this, man, way to go. So what this does, this actually does all the hard work for me when I can do this with one hand and lift at the same time. These are out on the market there. You still get them at the big box stores wherever they sell the shark bites or gator bites at another store. Okay, so basically what this does, let's see if I can give you a side view. And what this does, just put this on, and this will do the work for me. So it grabs the top. Let me do a close-up. Grabs the top of the fitting, and it grabs the bottom of the fitting and allows me, once I squeeze this, that'll relieve some of the pressure there where I can move this up and down. Now, I don't want to do the bottom part. Actually, I'm going to do the top part because this is the part that I'm adjusting. This is already set and ready to go. I'm not going to move this at all, but this is where I make the adjustments to go right up inside here. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this on the fitting. Let me see if I can get it with one hand. Probably not. I need to turn it upside down. There it is. So obviously I've already discovered, you see the difference in it. It's wider at one end and narrower at the other. It's not exact match. So that'll kind of tell you if it doesn't go on there as easy as it just did right then you've got it upside down. All right, so I'm going to squeeze this, and at the same time with my other hand, take the pressure off of the fitting here below and push this all the way up until it stops. Now, one way that you can make sure that you've done this is actually take a mark about 3/4 of an inch to an inch and mark it with a pen or pencil, and then that way you know it's up inside the fitting up here totally, okay? So let me go ahead and make my mark and then make that adjustment and go ahead and put it in, okay? And then we'll show you the end product. So you see there now I'm ready to go ahead, and I've made my inch mark here on the end. You want to do that on both sides each time that you do this. That way you know that this is completely inside and seating correctly. Now that we've got this connection here, everything's fit on both sides. Again, remember to take it all the way up to the mark as close as you can. Make your adjustments. This, and I'll just be very frank with you, this is not an easy job, even at this angle, because I'm actually here in a corner in a window. So, but we did get it up. So just make sure that everything's secure. You want to go ahead and secure this to keep this solid and keep it from moving on the other side inside the shower. So you want to put this one on both sides, okay? So this is actually a 1/2 inch pipe holder.